Gervonta Davis, the gymnast.
Joe Rogan has seen some of the greatest fighters in the world, but when he talks about Gervonta "Tank" Davis, there's a different kind of respect in his voice. You can tell he's genuinely blown away by what he sees.
I like watching someone who's exceptional at it. Where it's just like the technique is so dialed in.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys that like Gervonta Davis is like that. Their technique's so dialed in that when you watch them uncork, it's like, oh my God, the efficiency of it. And so I was just a giant fan of the guy. I just loved as a person who like really...
I've watched him. Someone who is exceptional, Rogan said, his tone full of admiration. Where it's just like, the technique is so dialed in. And that's the thing about Tank Davis. He doesn't just rely on raw power, speed, or athleticism. His technique is on another level. Rogan, a lifelong fight analyst and martial artist himself, appreciates fighters who don't just swing wildly, but instead fight with precision, timing, and near-perfect execution. There's guys like Gervonta Davis, where their technique is so dialed in that when you watch them uncork, it's like, oh my God. Rogan continued, his excitement building as he spoke. The efficiency of it, the way he delivers his shots. It's not just power, it's calculated destruction. That's what makes Tank different. He's not just a knockout machine, he's a strategist, a technician, a fighter who knows exactly when and how to land his shots for maximum damage. Rogan, who has spent years breaking down the mechanics of combat sports, sees something special in Davis.
Yo, boy, 95 Air Max on. Talk to him. Came from up the road, boy, you know we tax home. What else? You want a whole thing, hit me on the platform. Hood. Hot Cheeto, what I snack on. Fresh hood, it ain't nothing to get you wet, Trap, serving back to back,
I was just a giant fan of the guy, he admitted. As a person who really enjoys technique, I like watching someone like that. It's rare for a fighter to get this kind of recognition from someone like Rogan, but with Tank Davis, it's clear. He's not just another power puncher, he's a master of his craft, and when he steps into the ring, even seasoned fight analysts like Rogan can't help but sit back in awe.
I'm a giant Gervonta fan. I think that guy's so unusual.
Yeah.
His style's so unusual, and it's like patience.
Yeah.
Sure, Rogan has analyzed countless fighters, but when the topic of Tank Davis comes up, his excitement is undeniable. It's not just admiration, it's almost awe. He's seen knockout artists, technicians, and strategists, but there's something about Tank that stands out in a way few others do. I'm a giant Gervonta fan, Rogan said. I think that guy is so unusual. And he's right, Tank isn't like most boxers. He doesn't follow the traditional mold of an aggressive power puncher who just swings for the fences. His style is different, something Rogan finds fascinating. Yeah, his style's so unusual, Rogan continued, searching for the right words to describe what makes Davis so special. And it's like a patience. That patience is what separates Tank from so many others. He doesn't just rush in and throw wild shots, hoping to land something big. He takes his time. He waits, analyzes, and sets traps. And when the moment comes, he explodes with a level of precision and power that leaves his opponents on the canvas wondering what just happened. Rogan, who has spent years breaking down combat sports, sees something in Tank that few fighters have, a mix of raw power, precision, and an almost predatory patience. That's why he doesn't just admire him, he's a giant fan, because in a sport filled with great fighters, Gervonta Davis is something truly different.
Cause even when I'm high, fuck with me and get crossed later, the future's in my eyes. Cause all I want is cash and things, a 500, bands wanting flashy bangs. Bitches pursue me like a dream, been known to disappear before your eyes like a dope.
Rogan doesn't just think Davis is a great fighter, he thinks he's one of the most unique boxers in the sport today. There's something about the way Tank fights that Rogan finds fascinating. It's not just about speed, power, or even skill. It's about his mindset, his approach to the fight. While most champions rely on throwing a high volume of punches to overwhelm opponents, Tank does the exact opposite. He waits, he studies, he picks his moment, and when he finally lets his hands go, it's lights out.
Gervonta's something. He's so unique. I think if you look at all the active boxers who are champions, he may throw the least amount of punches.
Yeah.
Because he sets guys up. And so the first few rounds, he's just calculating you, trying to find your openings, testing you. His first round of his last fight, I mean, how many punches did he throw?
Yeah.
Like very few.
Yeah.
But goddamn, when he hits you, you're fucked. That dude can crack. He's so good. He's so accurate and he's so sneaky. The way he like dips inside, cuts in uppercuts. And his power, man, his power is just extraordinary. I am really interested to see if Ryan Garcia can handle that.
He's so unique, Rogan said, his voice filled with admiration. I think if you look at all the active boxers who are champions, he may throw the least amount of punches. That statement alone tells you everything you need to know about Tank's fighting style. He doesn't fight like most champions, who keep their hands busy, racking up points and trying to win rounds. Instead, he's like a sniper, waiting, watching, and looking for that one perfect shot. And when he lands it, the fight is usually over. Yeah, because he sets guys up, Rogan continued. So the first few rounds, he's just calculating you, trying to find your openings, testing you. That's the scary part. Tank isn't just waiting in those early rounds, he's downloading information. He's reading his opponent's every move, figuring out their habits, noticing the little mistakes they make, the way they drop their hand after a jab, the way they lean too far forward when they step in, the slight hesitation before they throw a hook. He watches everything, and the moment he sees an opening, he exploits it. This first round of his last fight, I mean, how many punches? Rogan asked, almost in disbelief. Yeah, like very few. And that's exactly what makes Tank so dangerous. Most fighters get comfortable when their opponent isn't throwing much. They start thinking they're safe, they think they're in control, and then, boom, one shot and it's all over. But goddamn, when he hits you, Rogan said, shaking his head, you're fucked. That dude can crack. And it's not just that he hits hard, it's how he lands those shots. Tank has this sneaky way of moving, a way of making himself disappear for a split second before cutting an angle and landing a shot you never even saw coming. He's so good, he's so accurate, Rogan continued, clearly in awe. And he's so sneaky, the way he like dips inside, cuts in, uppercuts. And when he does land, it's not just a regular punch, it's a bomb. Rogan has seen some of the hardest hitters in combat sports, but when it comes to Tank, his power is on a completely different level. His power, man, Rogan said, leaning in. His power is just extraordinary. That's why Rogan is so confident in Tank's ability to dominate. If you asked him whether Tank would beat anyone in his division, he wouldn't even hesitate. He sees what makes Davis special. He sees the way Tank calculates, the way he lures opponents in, the way he takes his time, and then, just when you think you've got him figured out, he explodes with a knockout punch that ends the fight instantly. Tank Davis isn't just another power puncher, he's not just another champion, he's a hunter, and if you're standing across from him in the ring, by the time you realize what's happening, it's already too late. Joe Rogan couldn't stop talking about how fast Tank really is, not just quick, insanely fast. The kind of speed that makes you question if what you just saw actually happened.
Against Gervonta.
Oh, he's a problem, bro. He's gonna be a problem
for
bro.
everybody.
He's gonna be a problem, bro.
Speed is bananas.
Yeah.
You ever seen him shadow box, like throw combinations?
Oh yeah,
there?
bro.
Like,
oh yeah.
is this sped up?
Oh,
How
yeah.
are you so fast?
He's gonna be a problem for everybody, Rogan said, shaking his head. His speed is bananas, and he's not exaggerating. There are fast fighters, and then there's Tank Davis. His speed isn't just about how quickly he throws, it's about how sudden it is. 1 second, he's standing there barely moving, just watching. Then, out of nowhere, he fires off a punch before his opponent even has a chance to react. You see him shadowbox, throw combinations, and you're thinking, is this video sped up? Rogan laughed. How is he that fast? But that speed doesn't come out of nowhere, it's built in the gym. Tank puts in serious work behind the scenes. His heavy bag sessions are brutal. You'll see him standing in front of it, throwing explosive punches, working on precision and power. It's not just about hitting the bag hard, it's about throwing at the right time, with perfect technique. His left hand snaps out so fast you barely see it, and when it lands, the bag shakes like it got hit by a truck. Then there's sparring. If you've ever watched Tank spar, you know how different he looks compared to other guys. He's not wild, not throwing 100 punches per round. He's studying, breaking his opponent down, figuring out their patterns, and when he sees a gap, just a tiny mistake, he capitalizes on it immediately. 1 second you think you're safe, the next you're picking yourself up off the canvas.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him so dangerous. Most guys have to load up before they throw a big punch. They pull their arm back, give little hints, and if you're sharp, you can see it coming. Tank, he doesn't need any of that. His left hook, it just snaps right out of nowhere.
It's the left hooks I've ever seen.
For sure.
I mean, it's right up there with everybody, all the great left hookers of the past.
But the crazy thing is, like, bro, he don't even bring it out. He just goes from right.
He might have one of the fastest left hooks I've ever seen, Rogan said. For sure. And the crazy part is, he doesn't even bring it back. He just fires it, like a whip.
Let's get it. Hop off a 16 passenger. This a G5, no, this not a Challenger. Big one. I keep some members with me in the fridge. The coat seats, they some cannibals. Eaters. They like to geek.
That speed and power are sharpened in his shadow boxing. When he moves, it's like watching a blueprint for a knockout. He doesn't just throw punches randomly. Every movement is calculated, sharp, and dangerous. His head movement is slick, his footwork is smooth, and his punches, they come in angles you don't see coming.
Rap, wanna be a trap clown, standing in the kitchen with my wife.
And let's not forget the weights. Tank may not look like a bodybuilder, but the dude is strong. He lifts heavy, working on explosive strength, especially in his legs and core.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's where his knockout power comes from. You'll see him hitting squats, medicine ball slams, and resistance band drills to make sure every punch has maximum force behind it. That's what makes Tank so special. It's not just his power, speed, or technique. It's the way he puts it all together. Joe Rogan has seen countless fighters, but when he talks about Tank, there's a different kind of respect, and when he steps into the ring, you know something spectacular is about to happen. But that's just it. Joe Rogan doesn't just see Davis as more than just a knockout artist, he also sees him as a symbol of perseverance. Tank isn't just another world champion, he's a fighter in every sense, both inside and outside the ring. His journey wasn't easy, and that's exactly why his success means so much.
It's really something to see a kid who has nothing, born into extreme poverty, become a world champion, like Gervonta Davis.
Yeah.
It's an inspiring story.
It is, and it's great for everyone because it gives you fuel. Like for a person who's coming up in life, even if you're not a fighter, you see what someone's gone through and you see the success that hard work has created.
Right.
And it can be a roadmap for your own life.
It's really something to see a kid who has nothing, born into extreme poverty, become a world champion like Gervonta Davis, Rogan said, his voice full of admiration. It's an inspiring story, and it is inspiring. Tank didn't grow up with advantages. He wasn't handed opportunities. He had to fight, not just in the ring, but in life. Raised in Baltimore, in an environment where so many fall victim to crime, poverty, and violence. Tank managed to escape a cycle that traps so many, but it wasn't luck. It was grit, it was dedication, and it was his unbreakable will to succeed. And it's great for everyone, Rogan continued, because it gives you fuel. That's what makes Tank's rise bigger than just boxing. His story isn't just for fighters, it's for anyone trying to make something of themselves. Whether you're in sports, business, or just trying to push through the struggles of everyday life, Tank's journey proves that success is possible if you're willing to put in the work. For a person who's coming up in life, even if you're not a fighter, you see what someone's gone through, Rogan said. And you see the success that hard work has created, right? It's more than just wins and knockouts. It's a roadmap, a living example of what happens when talent meets discipline. And it can be a roadmap for your own life, Rogan finished. That's why people connect with Tank. It's not just about his power, skill, or highlight reel knockouts. It's about his story. He's a fighter in every sense of the word, a kid who refused to be another statistic and turned his struggle into greatness. And now, with his next fight against Lamont Roach on the horizon, that same relentless spirit will be on full display. Fans can't wait to see if he'll deliver another jaw-dropping performance and add to his legacy. One thing's for sure, when Gervonta Davis steps into the ring, you don't want to miss it. Who do you think takes this one? Drop your predictions in the comments below.